Vroom vroom, my friend. I'm here to teach you how to play Golden Lap, which is a cool minimalist motorsport management game. It focuses on retro open wheel racing, and in this guide I'll be giving you tips about everything from setting up your team to actual race strategy. So let's jump right in. The first thing we need to do is set up our team, and I'm going to select this team here. They're projected to finish second, so they'll have a big budget, as you can see, $100 whole, and this will allow me to show you all of the game's mechanics. And really what we're doing here is basically trying to get the best drivers, the best staff, and the best car that we possibly can given our budget. Now, like I said, we have a high budget, so we can kind of go crazy here. We're picking drivers. Let's filter by speed. This is basically by how fast they are. So this dude is the fastest, but as you can see, he's in his mid-career, so he's not going to be around for that long, and he doesn't have good focus, so he's quite error prone. So his raw pace here, it's not worth it that much. We have Luigi here, who is early on in his career, so he's young. He costs a little bit more, but we can afford that, and he's got really good focus, and he's got really good speed. So there's the potential for this guy to be even better. He's basically like Max Verstappen or something like that. He's personable, which gives him engineering precision. We'll talk about that. He's handy, which improves his reliability, and he loves his home country of America, so he races better in there. I'm going to select him, and I'm going to select Levi Mack as kind of my second driver. Again, he's expensive, but in this database and in this save, we have the budget for it. So we're going to have two great drivers. But one thing to note is that traits can be negative, right? This guy, he's a jerk. So engineering precision is -1 here, which, it's not perfect, but, we can work with that. We can work with that. We'll treat him as our secondary driver. Next up, we need to choose an engineer. And basically from here, engineers are influencing how the cars are being built, how much they can be upgraded. And since we do have the budget, we could go with one of the best engineers who's the most expensive, which is Neri here. If I filter by expertise or precision, he's basically the best one, and he's in his early career, and he has the design master trait, which gives you more performance points. But of course, if you're working with a smaller budget, you'll have to balance this out and figure out who else can fit in your team. Do you want to go for potential or instant success? With a team like this, we need to go for instant success. Now then, if we pick a crew chief, we'll need to figure out someone who's fastest pit stops and isn't error prone in pit stops. So if we go by speed, Jurgen here has the fastest pit stops. Well, he's tied with these other guys, but he's got butterfingers. So failed pit stops increased by 50%. Whew, that's way too much. And he's late in his career. We got this Belgian dude here. He has no skill. We don't like that. We got the Brazilian dude. He's in his late career, so I don't love that. If I keep looking around, who should we get that is a good mixture of all of this? What if we filter by skill? We got this guy, Claude Deschamps. He is late in his career, but his speed is, it's not that great. But his skill is really high, so he's super reliable. And he actually has wet weather bonuses, and he has failure bonuses as well. So he won't be around for long, but we can sign someone later. So maybe let's pick this guy. Let's pick Claude here. So the reason why we can kind of like not worry so much about pit stop speed here, because we already have super fast drivers. So our drivers are going to carry us. And yeah, our pit stops will be a little bit slower, but that's okay. Now we need to pick if we're going to pick, or we need to pick if we want a balanced car, which will give us kind of balanced attributes and reliability. If we go experimental, reliability can go down, but our overall performance and potential can go higher. Likewise, you can go the opposite direction with conservative, where you have a cheaper and weaker car with decent reliability. So when you're setting up your team, think about what your goal is. Because we picked this high-end team, our goal is to be winning right away, so we need to go balls to the wall. But if you're like a mid-table team or a bottom team and you want to plan for the future, plan for the future. Maybe you need to start with a conservative car, or maybe you need to try experimental, and you'll definitely need to hire cheaper staff. But look for those that have high potential. Next up, we need to pick a sponsor. So let's think about what we're expected to accomplish, right? We're expected to be winning, to be on the podium. So let's see here. Vice is giving us base income that's, not as much as the other ones, but it's a pretty good race bonus if we finish first or above, with a season bonus if we finish first or above. But the thing is, are we confident that we're always going to be finishing first? I'm going to say no. So although this could be the best option for us, I'm just going to be picking this option here because I'm a little bit less confident. So we're going to be racing, we're going to be getting bonuses as long as we finish second or above, and as long as we finish 4 and above. Now, I don't need to worry about money as much because like we said before, we already have some of the best staff and some of the best drivers. Now then, we're going to build our car here and we're going to see what kind of the other teams picked. So you'll be able to inspect that, you know, at your own pace. And looks like we've got Totally Not Spa as our first race. And here we have an overview of what our car is like in reliability. So if we go to our garage here, we can start building new parts or we can start upgrading parts. So we have 12 bucks right now. And in 1970s money, that's basically like 12 million, right? That's totally how money works. So if we start upgrading here, we'll start upgrading performance and reliability. So why not? You know, we have 12 bucks, we might as well start upgrading. So let's think about this though, right? So our engine is affecting acceleration, our chassis affects total speed, and then the wheel or whatever is considered handling. So if we look at this track, let's take a look at Totally Not Spa here, right? So uses the wet weather pattern, so it's probably going to be a wet race on there, and it's bumpy, which increases crashing, which is dangerous. But you can see we do have all of these straights, but we do have a lot of curves too. It's not quite like Spa where you just want to focus mostly on top speed, but these straights are quite big. So maybe we'll invest in top speed just to start with, just because we can. So we can do our chassis here. Although reliability is already at 100, so upgrading is a bit of a waste. So, let's think about this. Maybe we'll just go a little bit balanced. We don't need to do these upgrades necessarily. I'm just showing them off to you. We'll keep $3 in the bank just in case we need it. And you can see here how, you know, in the future, if we want to build new parts, they'll have some of the upgrades as well. But of course, when we build new parts, we'll need to work on the reliability afterwards. And here you're also picking which parts are equipped to which car. So we're basically giving the number 1 car to Luigi here because we're deciding that Mach is our second driver. So at this point, we can just hit continue and we will go to qualifying as expected. We are in the rain. So there's different tire compounds, of course, just like in real open wheel racing. But because we're in the rain here, we're probably just going to be using the rain ones. Now I've paused the game here. I hit space. You also have the controls for speed down here. This is your timing view, and you can also see like the different strategies from other teams. You can hover your mouse over it to expand it, or sorry, you can hit tab on the keyboard to expand it. And then down here, we have the weather forecast. So we can see it's going to be heavy rain for the whole time. So what we're going to be needing to do here is qualify in the heavy rain. And the way that works is we click send out on our driver. And normally you'd have to make choices about what tires you want, things like that. But because we're in the rain, we can see here, right, that the rain levels are really high and they're going to be maximum for more or less the whole race. Maybe not like maximum, but basically maximum. So we can see here on the wet tire, the wet range is, you know, when there's half or more rain. That's a weird way of saying it. When there's heavy rain, but on the meter, it's about half. Tells you how many laps are going to last, you know, in balanced conditions. So we're going to select wet here. It would be crazy to not select something wet with this kind of rain. And we're going to hit confirm. And basically what's going to happen now when we unpause the game, Reddy's going to do laps, or one flying lap, and he's going to come back into the pits. And then we're going to start tuning our car to get the best possible setup. So this does not follow proper F1 rules that you might be familiar with in 2024. This follows a different thing. Don't think of this as trying to realistically recreate what qualifying and what F1 is like at this particular moment. All right, so our number 1 driver, Moretti, is back in the pit. And so we're going to hit send out again. We don't have to worry about tire amounts. We can just select a new wet tire. It's still heavy rain. And you can see this is how many points that we accrued on this lap. And now we can start spending them across different categories for our tuning. So you can see plus 80 here, right? We want to get our bar to fill up and get in the yellow. And then once we're in the yellow, that's when the setup is like locked in, the quote unquote perfect setup. So you really have to kind of think about and play around and strategize based on a little bit of fun RNG here, how you want to attribute these points. Because right now, if you want to attribute it to the chassis, which is kind of top speed, we can do this where for the cost of these many yellow points, we'll get 1 to 18 added into our chassis performance. So do we want to risk that and be like 1 to 18? It could just be, you know, we could just end up getting plus 2 points for a high cost, but you know what? We're just going to YOLO it. We're going to see what we get. So we got plus 10, which is great. And then, ooh, 6 to 16. That's a great option. We're going to do that. And then we're going to add a little bit to our handling as well. We only got 6 there. And just to keep things kind of balanced a little bit, we're going to see if we can add more to the engine. So we click that and we get 0, but we still have 1 point left, and we can try to use it basically on here. We got plus 1. Now, you'll notice the points here weren't full before, so you can stack them up between runs. I've actually never done that myself. Maybe I should double check that after, but you can. So we're going to hit confirm. It's going to take some time to do the new car setup, about 17 seconds here, and we'll be sending him out afterwards. For now, though, we are going to wait for Mach to pit, and once we're able to send out Mach, then we're going to do the same thing here. So we got 0 to 19. Let's YOLO it. We got plus 5. Not great, not the worst. We got plus 5 again. So we'll do here. We'll keep going on top speed. We'll try this as well. And, you know, we're going to select wet tires again. And we're just going to build this up with every single time that the drivers come back into the pit. And we have 30 minutes to do this. So I'm going to hit confirm again. And I'm going to cut to when we're a little bit later in our tuning to show you the kind of optimized tuning if you can get it. All right, so we're nearing the end of qualifying. This is probably going to be our last run for the boys. And we didn't get the greatest sort of RNG and upgrades here, which is part of the game. You have to work with what you got. But also, in retrospect, I really should have thought about how not only is this a speed track, but it's a rain track. So maybe actually we wanted better acceleration. Maybe we wanted better braking and cornering because of the rain, instead of just trying to go for speed. But hey, that's something that, you know, it's too late to really change too much now. So you can see here, check this out. 4 to 20. We're getting close here to the golden part of the meter, and we might be able to max it out if we're lucky here. Ooh, okay. So check this out. If I go 4 to 18, that's going to potentially put me in the red. And if I go in the red, that'll send me back. That'll mess up my car, and it'll just be like wasted progress. You don't want to overtune, because that's going to create problems for you. You want to get it before the yellow, or you want to get it in the yellow, right? So if I did this, it's a huge risk that I can overtune. But for the sake of showing you the game, let's do it. Oh, minus 20. So we totally screwed up. We totally screwed up the car for our number 1 driver, and we're gonna have to manage that during the race and figure it out and see what we can do to work with that. So we'll just send him out on another run, and we'll have our second driver here come back. So with him, we are getting close into improving our braking and cornering. So we'll do 3 to 15. We'll do 4 to 18. And now we have the option. We have the ability to get into the yellow. Please, racing gods, please. Ooh. Oof, oof, oof. This is going to be... Nope. We couldn't do it. We couldn't do it. But it's okay. You know, this is just showing you how this game can roll up on you. So there's a randomness component to it, just like there is in real racing. And then there's a strategic component to it where you really want to sit there and think about those numbers. So it does a good job of simulating how, you know, anything can happen on a race day, but ultimately it is in your control. So although our setup is not the best, we do have really good drivers. We do have really good cars. And kind of the problem that we have now is that our number 1 driver with the number 1 car has a potentially worse setup than our secondary driver. So let's see how that actually pans out during the race. All right, so here we have our boys on the grid. We start on the 2nd row. We also have the 3rd row. So again, our number 1 driver is right behind our number 2 driver. And we have to make some strategic calls here. So we can expect it to be heavy rain throughout the whole race, as we can see here. So we're just going to start on the wet tires immediately. There won't be any tire strategy in this race, but we'll do another quick race afterwards to show you how that works. And now we have to make some choices, some difficult choices. So we are on the 2nd row here with our secondary driver, who presumably will be the better driver in this race. We can't know that for sure, but we're going to maximize his speed basically and his fuel burn. So this is going to make the car go into kind of like hyperdrive mode. It's going to burn off a lot of fuel. We'll need to manage our fuel later in the race to make sure we don't run out. And we're going to be aggressive with our driving strategy. So we're going to tell Mach like, hey, go crazy. Try to gain as many spots as you can during the start. Now, our other driver that's behind, we're going to tell him, hey, don't attack your teammate. So he might lose a spot on the start because he's going to be driving like this, but we really need to maximize our guy on the second row. We want him to fight for second position. We're still going to tell Moretti to be aggressive and also have high fuel burn to maximize his speed, but we don't want these guys fighting each other on the start because they could crash into each other. It could destroy our entire race. So, all right. Chapman's team, their new crew chief is getting a bonus because that's just how it goes sometimes. That's okay. Alrighty, so I'm going to select Moretti here so that we can easily watch both of our drivers. We're going to see how things go here. Can we gain some spots potentially at the start here? Okay, great. Mach is already going up. We got Moretti going up. There's just a lot of back and forth here, but let's switch over to Mach right now. So he's gaining spots, he's pushing, that's really good. But as you can see in the bottom left here, we got some meters filling up. And I'll explain that in just a moment. First, let's zoom out. Why am I not zooming out? Hey, why am I for reals? Why can't I zoom out? Oh, there we go. I guess it just wasn't registering my click. So small bug, but you just have to click a bunch of times. So our guy, Mach, is in second place right now, but he's neck and neck with the not Ferrari boys, right? So now, do we want to risk it? We know that this circuit, it's got risk, it's got rain. If we keep driving like this, so if we keep driving with, aggressive tire strategy, we increase our tire wear, which, burns our tires and makes them slower quicker. We increase our chance of crashing, which is always bad. And in this game, your drivers can actually perish. Like literally, they die. So do we want to risk that? The driver's stress meter currently is, at medium chance. So it's going to keep growing the more we tell him to drive aggressively. And at this point, we kind of need to back off a little bit because it is rainy, it is high risk. So we're going to need to tell our drivers to chill, but we can still give them high fuel burn, which will still make the car a little bit faster. We can always manage our fuel later in the race. And over here, we can see how much fuel is expected to last and how long your tires are expected to last based on current conditions. Of course, that can always change. But right now, we are projected to run out of fuel pretty fast. So actually, maybe we won't burn as much fuel, right? Maybe we'll just go on medium fuel, which right now, in our current projections, will take us to the end of the race. So then let's zoom in on Mach again, and let's see how he's going to do with these new settings. So he's really fighting tooth and nail with Morstan here for the first spot. And great, he overtakes him, but he loses the spot. Motor racing, car racing. What am I trying to say here? Racing. I love racing. So it's going to go like this for a while. And now we can see that our stress levels have gone down. So we can probably tell our drivers to start pushing again, but we want to be strategic about when we want to push. So do we really want to push in like these tight corners here? Not really. We focused a lot on top speed and we kind of, set up our car in a weird way. So there's no real point to pushing these tight corners. Let's try to catch them on more of a straight because we kind of did focus on that. So what we're going to do here is let's temporarily go into high fuel burning and aggressive strategy. And we're going to hope that, well, for Moretti, we actually don't need to do it. We'll just let Moretti chill for now. But for Mach, who's fighting for the first spot, let's tell him to be aggressive. And I told the wrong driver to be aggressive. Sorry. Let's do that. Let's do that like this. And let's just see what happens. Wait, what am I saying? What am I saying? We're going to be aggressive in a moment here. Not yet. We're going to be aggressive as soon as we get out of this turn. So as we're finishing up this turn, now we can go ham. And we'll just go ham on the top speed. We got this big straight. It's curved a little bit. Mach is in first place now. And you can see he's gaining time on his enemy, or putting in a bigger gap, I should say, which is great for us. Already a second up. We'll let the stress meter build up over here a little bit more. Just why not? We're going crazy here, and we're gonna push a little bit again, just on the big straight here, and then we're gonna tell our driver to calm down basically and start managing his pace a little bit more. So right now we're gonna just take it here, here, here. And you can see now the driver's stress is going to be going down. Now then, we've got Moretti to think about. So Moretti here is still stuck in fourth place, but he's having a big battle with fifth and a big battle with third. So we can tell him to push as well coming up on the straight. So we're just going to get our controls ready here, and we'll tell him to push in just a moment here, like so. And let's see if Moretti can kind of gain on Woods. Yeah, he's already gaining time. We saw Mock is back in second place. He's going to be fighting it out. And it kind of goes from here, right? You want to be managing your different strategies. You want to be managing your drivers, but you need to keep you need to keep an eye on the weather forecast. For this race is simple enough, we are just going to be racing in the wet, but you need to keep an eye out on your tires as well. You don't want to necessarily get them to no grip, because once they're at the bottom, they'll run risk of crashing. They'll be super slow. So really, we don't necessarily want to be pitting when we have no grip left on the tires. We want to be pitting maybe around here or something like that. It really depends on what's going on in the race. So right now, I'm just going to race, and I'll check in with you guys when something major happens or when we need pitting, so I can show you how that works. All right, so let's do a pit strategy check-in. So it's not looking so hot for us right now. Mach is almost 7 seconds behind. Yeah, almost 7 seconds behind second place. And let's see how long the tires can last if we were to pit in these conditions. So if we pit right now and we put on new wet tires, they're expected to last, well, you can see here, up to 39 laps, which doesn't take us to the end of the race. So right now we have to make a decision. Are we going to pit now and pit 3 times? Or do we want to try to YOLO it? Get to the end of these tires and then try to get to the end of the other tires. I'm not liking that so much. So let's split up the strategy, right? Let's do 2 different strategies for our drivers. So for Mach, who has been kind of our main driver for this race, let's pit him. What am I doing here? Let's pit him right now. And he'll just have to pit, a total of, well, I think I said 3 before, but 2 times. He's going to make 2 pit stops. So we're going to pit him right now. And we're going to tell him, hey, get on the new wets. You can click here to repair car parts, and that will make your pit stop last longer. But right now we don't need to do that because the car is in great shape, I should say. So we'll hit confirm, and then we'll tell Moretti to go basically to the wire here in the hopes of making him pit, only 1 time. So there might also be a yellow flag or a safety car that might also enable us to get like a free pit stop out of this. But at this point, we're trailing behind the number 1 team and we want to get to the number 1 spot. So we're just trying stuff out. We're just trying to figure out different strategies to potentially come out on top. So I'm just going to fast forward here until we need to take a look at something else. All right, so now it's time to pit Moretti, and he's not going to make it to the bottom here. He's been losing a lot of time to Woods. So we're just going to pit him, and we're going to give him new wet tires, because as we can see from the forecast, there will be a little bit more grip on the track, which will make the track faster, but heavy rain continues. So we're going to pit him for wets, and we're just going to have to kind of see what happens with this race. Sometimes this is, motorsport. We didn't nail our setup. We didn't necessarily nail our car upgrades. So we're just going to have to do the best that we can with what we got here. And Moretti is not going to make it to the end of the race. So we'll need to pit around here to maximize kind of the speed that we can get from our tires. We don't necessarily want to have the slow runs over here. We're going to have Mach pitting around here as well. So what's nice is our 2 drivers, because they're on slightly different strategies, they don't really have to worry about racing each other. But what's not nice is we're being completely blitzed by the not Ferrari team here. So we kind of messed this race up, but from watching this, you guys, I think, have learned how to play the mechanics and what not to do in a situation like this. So I'm going to fast forward to when we need to check in next. Oh snap, we have Luigi Moretti crashing. So that's not good. That's not good for us at all. Oh my gosh. So we're losing a driver in this race. We're losing originally what was our number 1 driver, but it is what it is. So right now we have yellow flag, which think of it like the safety car in modern F1. So we're going to get a free pit stop out of this. We're going to have Mach come into the pit, and he's going to put on new wet tires that will hopefully take him to the end of the race. Wait a minute. I didn't realize that was going to go full speed. So we're totally past the pit lane. So I don't think we're really going to get a free pit stop out of this, but we do need to pit Mach anyway, unfortunately. So this is just how it goes sometimes, folks. This is racing. So we're sending Mach into the pits here. And fortunately for us, we know that the number 1 racer here is going to have to pit as well. So we're probably looking at a second place here potentially. Hopefully, maybe not. There is a big enough gap, but we'll see what we can do. And green flag races back on. How are we doing on fuel? If we continue like this, we'll have 7 laps left. So we can push a little bit right now, and we have clear air in front of us. So let's do some fuel burn and let's push a little bit. We do have the fuel for it. So this will just help increase our speed. We'll see what we can get out of it. 2.3 laps left. So we can push. Yeah, we can definitely push here. And right now we've kind of slingshotted into first place, which is great. I'll be honest with you. I was looking at the fuel, not the timing. I guess both of them must have pitted, right? Hey, it works for us. I'll take it. I should have been paying way more attention. But from here on out, we'll go into regular driving mode. And now because Mach's in first place and he's got the fastest lap, that gives us a bonus point. What we're going to do here is kind of carefully watch what's going on. We know that Woods is, right behind us, potentially fresh tire. He was just pushing, but now he's not. So from here on out, we can kind of match what he's doing. So if he starts pushing, we can start pushing. Right now, he's going into big fuel burn. He overtook us. We should have gone into fuel burn, to fight that. But you know what? We'll push a little bit here right now. And we're just having like a shootout with the number 2 guy. So let's see, where are we at on the track? We're here. Let's see if maybe after this sector, we can calm down for here. And then we can go ham on the big straight. So I'll just calm down here a little bit. And then once we get to the big straight, let's see if we can put a bigger gap towards our enemy, our opponent. So we're going to go into aggressive mode again. We're going to fast forward a bit. Let's see. So we're up by almost, not almost 2 seconds, but a second and a half, a bit over a second and a half. So let's take down our fuel and let's take down our aggression and let's see what happens. So, so going into the big straight, we're up 1.28. So I think let's go ham again. Let's see if we can raise that gap. So right now we're kind of 1.28 again. How are we doing on our fuel? We can still push and our stress is okay. So you know what? Let's just keep pushing a little bit more. Let's see what happens. We're up 3.2. So let's just chill here. Our stress is really high. Maybe we shouldn't have gone that high, especially with our other driver DNFing. So we'll just have to, kind of be careful for the end here. Luckily, our tires will last at the end of the race. We do have enough fuel, but red flag. So here's something interesting. Red flag, we're going to the pit now, and we have the ability to actually, change what we're doing here. So we can just put on wet tires, like fresh wet tires, and we can repair our car, and it's only going to take 17.5 seconds. And here we have 4 minutes until we can restart the race. So the red flag was because that crash was so bad, they needed to clear the track. And do we want to just take the free, the free repairs here? Why not? What's stopping us? We'll hit confirm, and then we're going to resume racing in about 2.5 minutes. Or by the time I already said that, we're going to resume racing really soon. Oh my gosh. So we're now back down into 3rd place, which is not great. We'll just have to go ham right away. So let's see. Are we good on fuel? Our projected fuel is 2 laps left in this mode. So we can keep our fuel burn on for the rest of the race, which is great. And Mach's already back into first place here. Oh my gosh. His stress is so high. We need to calm down. I'm being way too gregarious here, but we got the yellow flag anyway. So right now, no overtaking because of an incident. So we need to time this carefully. Basically, as soon as the yellow flag ends, we want to push really hard because we don't have stress. So right now, we'll just push really hard right away. Just being neurotic about fuel. 2.9 laps left. That's great. And then we will hopefully just win from here. Yeah. We're up quite a few seconds. Our stress, we need to keep managing our stress. And oh my gosh, another red flag. Folks, it is a dangerous track and there was rain. So tons of crashing in this race. We can do repairs and we can put on fresh tires again. And we'll go aggressive for when we get out of the pit lane or when we do the race restart, because we don't want to drop spots again. So let's take care of that. And I'll just speed it up some more. This is a crazy race, y'all. I thought this was just going to be like generic wet race, but oh my gosh. I hope you're learning a lot from this. Wow. So we're killing it right now, I guess. And let's just, chill with our stress levels. We're still great on fuel, which is great. There's been a lot of stoppages or slowdowns in this race, which has helped out with fuel. So from here on out, we're basically not guaranteed to win, but we're in a great spot. And I think what we want to do here, just for the end, we'll just push here. We'll watch the stress levels very carefully. We'll maximize our push, so immediately bring down our stress levels. And yeah, we're almost 5 seconds up. So there you go. Despite having a sloppy race, I have shown you, how you can claw it back. But let's actually see what happens here. So this driver here will be out for one race. This driver is okay. And it seems like our driver is okay as well. They didn't mention anything. So let's just continue. We met our sponsorship goals. Great, we're having our secondary driver in first place, which is kind of funny. In the team standings, though, we're second because Ferrari had a better team race. And now a sponsor wants to give us a new opportunity. So these guys want us to use all dry compound tires in a single race for some bonus money within 2 races, or finish on the podium without using the engine push mode. That's never going to happen. So let's do the all dry tire compound in a single race challenge. Driver replacement here for the other team. And from here on out, we need to think about this next track. So it's bumpy. It has a high chance of crashing. It's got an extremely technical sector here, but it's also got, some straights here. So we need an all-around car here. So if we go into garage, let's see what we can do here. Reliability is looking real good just across the board. So if we want an all-around car, we'll just upgrade it as much as we can. So let's upgrade. I'm thinking 7 to 8 for all of these. 7 to 8 for all of these as well, right? Yeah. So let's just bump up the reliability here as well, because we might as well. And we'll keep $8. We won't keep $8. We'll upgrade Moretti's kind of engine as well. Help him with the with the technical sector, and we'll upgrade our chassis here a little bit as well. And for this race, what we're going to try to do is basically lock in our qualifying sort of setup, and we're going to try to win the race. And I'm going to show you some race strategies for dry weather racing, assuming this race is dry. I'm going to cut here and we'll get to the race in a bit. All right, folks, check this out. So we are here tuning for that next race, and we're about to hit the golden spot potentially. I just wanted to show you how that looks. So we do the 6 to 16. Oh, we didn't get it. But maybe we can do the 0 to 9. We also didn't get it. Maybe we can do 2 to 5. And there you have it. We got it in the yellow, but not too over. Like, we didn't hit 90 or anything crazy like that. So our sort of acceleration is dialed in for our driver here. That's how that looks, and that's what you want to accomplish when you're trying to set the golden tuning, as the game calls it, or something like that. Basically the perfect tuning, the perfect setup for your character. All right, folks, so we've qualified here on the second row, 3rd place, and then on the 3rd row, 7th place, and this is projected to be a dry race. We got a relatively okay setup, not perfect, not amazing. We did get one kind of golden bar for each driver, which is nice. And now what we're going to do here is set up our strategy for the race start. We're going to use the soft tire here in 3rd place because it will give us the best race pace, but it will degrade the quickest. We could also use medium or hard. So medium is a slightly slower tire, lasts longer, and then hard is a slow tire, which lasts for a really long time. But because we're in 3rd place, we want to try to get ahead. We want to try to gain some spots at the start. So we're going to start with the fastest tire. We're going to do this, we're going to do that. It's going to make our driver more aggressive. Now, for our number 2 driver, we're also going to tell him to start aggressive, and we're going to tell him not to fight our number 1 driver. And you can kind of you don't have to start on the soft tires in 7th place. you could try to run a different race, but you can probably assume that almost everyone around you is going to be starting on the soft tires. So you might as well start on the soft tires to see if you can gain some laps. And especially because we know Mach is a solid driver, at least on paper. So from here on out, we're going to be racing in this dry race, and we're going to be using a mixture of these compounds depending on how the situation goes, depending on what strategy we need. So let's see, Team April partied a bit hard, so -1 on their abilities. That's always fun. So right now, I'm just going to start the race, and we can see here, so these tires, they don't have a lot of grip left. So I'm just going to pause right now, and if I were to pit right now, let's see what that looks like. If I picked medium tires, that's how long they would last. If I pick hard tires, that's how long they would last. So the hard tires would last for about 15 to 29 laps. So maybe let's say that's like 25 laps at most. The medium would last, maybe, I don't know, 15 laps if we're being realistic about it, that kind of thing. So we don't necessarily want to commit to anything yet. We're just going to see how the race evolves. But right now I'm just going to fast forward, see, that was so fast. See what we can do up here. So everybody started on hards, which is really interesting. You wouldn't really do that in real racing. Huh. So that is kind of messing with my understanding of just real racing, but maybe they figured that this track is so technical that they don't need the speed that the softs would provide, actually. So interesting. I don't know if that's like an AI quirk or if that's something I've just failed to understand about the game. But anyway, you can see now we are starting to build some great gaps here because we're on the faster tire. We need to watch our fuel burn. Right now, we're not projected to make it to the end of the race, so we'll calm down on our fuel. But right now, we're in a great spot because we're just kind of dominating top two, but we do lose the spot there. That is a bit odd that the slower tire like that would be gaining, but it is fair because you can see here we're only at like half of our tire life, basically. So we haven't really been able to maximize our tire advantage. We're kind of back where we started. Mach gained a bunch of spots, but Moretti kind of didn't. So now we are looking at a sort of kind of free pit stop, except no, we're not. So now we're in a really problematic situation because we've already missed the pit entry, which is over here. And with this yellow flag, if we were able to pit right away, we would minimize how much time we lose from the pit, and then we could go on to hard tires. But now what's going to happen is we basically got to do the full lap, then go on hard tires, and we're going to get overtaken by everyone. Oh boy, things are not looking good for us. So let's see how that goes. So the other thing is we're going to have to double stack our boys, or if we double stack our boys, that's going to make us lose even more time. So we'll just have to do slightly different strategies. We'll send Mach out for another lap, even though I don't necessarily want to do that. But I'm going to do a bit of a gamble here. I'm going to go on the medium tires, which won't get us to the end of the race, but perhaps there will be more safety cars. Perhaps something else will happen, right? It is racing. So, Oh, we see the threat of rain approaching here. Perfect. So we'll go to mediums. And unfortunately, we do have to send Mach out for another lap, so we can just pit him right now. And then Mach will go on to mediums. And then we'll keep racing. So right now, we're in third with Mach and seventh with Moretti. And how's our fuel doing? So our fuel is looking good. We can push later. You can see we're being overtaken now quite a bit. And it is what it is. We're just making do with what we can here. So we are the faster tire, and their tire will be dropping off in a bit. So I don't think we need to do anything crazy in this stint. We can just keep racing naturally. We don't need to tell our drivers to go crazy. It's not looking real good for us, but it is what it is. So right now, let's see how much fuel burn we can do. 3 laps. We'll play by ear. We'll stick around to what we're doing here. Oh, another yellow flag. Let's see. I don't think we need to pit for this one, especially because we're going to get into the rain towards the end of our entire lifetime. So we'll just fast forward through here. We'll gain some spots out of this, which is good for us. And then we'll tell Moretti to go ham when the race resumes, which will be shortly. And we'll tell him, hey, buddy, let's burn. Let's go crazy here. Let's go for that overtake. Hell yeah. And then, that's interesting. Slower car behind us now, 3 seconds, but fresh tires. So we'll do a little bit more burning. We'll do a little bit more aggression, and then we'll set it back because of our stress level. And then we'll just keep going, and we'll see how it goes until we get closer to the rain. I'll do a cut then. So as things stand, we're not really gonna make it with our tires to any significant rainfall. And we're not sure that there is gonna be any significant rainfall, really. It looks like there won't be. So we're just gonna have to pit here, and let's see what will get us to the end of the race. Oof, the mediums will not get us to the end of the race. So now we have to make the decision, do we wanna keep driving on this and then risk it for another medium stint? Do we wanna do 2 soft stints? There's a lot to think about here, but the thing is, because of the rain, it's introducing an unknown factor. I kind of want to risk it, right? I always like risking it in these games because I just think that's a lot of fun. But these are the kinds of strategic calls that you have to make in these games. But anyway, folks, let's call it here. This has gone on long enough. I've shown you every mechanic, every system. I've shown you some good race strategy. I've shown you some race bad strategy. Thank you so much for watching. And if you enjoyed this video or learned something from it, be sure to drop a like, subscribe, or hype, or whatever else YouTube is doing these days. Thanks so much again, and I'll see you next time.